Ever wondered why the price of goods and services increase over time? Well, let's dive into the fascinating world of economics to unravel this mystery. This phenomenon is known as inflation. In simple terms, inflation is the rise in the general level of prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. When inflation is at play, every dollar you hold buys a smaller percentage of a good or a service. That's because the purchasing power of your money, its ability to buy goods and services, decreases. Imagine you could buy a fancy cupcake with $1 last year, but this year that same dollar can only get you a regular muffin. That's inflation at work, subtly but surely changing the value of your money. This might be a lot to take in, but hang on, we're just getting started. So now you might be thinking, why does inflation happen? Inflation doesn't just happen out of the blue, it has specific causes. Let's delve into the two main types: demand pull and cost push inflation. Imagine a bustling marketplace where the demand for goods and services exceeds their supply. This creates a competitive environment where buyers are willing to pay more for the same goods, thereby driving up prices. That, in essence, is demand pull inflation. On the flip side, we have cost-push inflation. This is a bit like a domino effect. Let's say the cost of essential production components like raw materials or labor increases. To maintain their profit margins, producers are left with no choice but to hike up their prices. And voila, we see the ripple effect of cost-push inflation. Both these types of inflation can happen independently or even simultaneously, painting a complex picture of economic dynamics. But what does all this mean for you and me? Inflation affects us all, whether we realize it or not. It's like a silent character in our daily life story, subtly influencing our decisions, habits, and futures. Let's take a moment to really understand this impact. Imagine you've just received your paycheck. You're feeling good, planning where to spend and where to save. But then inflation steps in. It's like a ghost, quietly eating away at the value of your hard-earned money. What you could buy for $100 last year might cost you $102 this year. That's inflation at work, eroding your purchasing power. Now, a little bit of inflation isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's quite normal and can even be beneficial for the economy. It can encourage spending and investment, which in turn fuels economic growth. But when inflation rates rise too high, too fast, that's when we start to feel the pinch. Your savings, they could lose value over time if the inflation rate outpaces the interest you're earning. Your investments, they might not yield the returns you were expecting if prices rise faster than your investments grow. Inflation can also lead to a decrease in living standards. As prices rise, people might find it harder to afford the things they need, let alone the things they want. So, how can we manage and control inflation? Well, that's a topic for our next scene. Stay tuned. Controlling inflation is crucial to ensure a stable and healthy economy. And like the vigilant guardians of the economy, central banks and governments have a few key tools at their disposal to do just that. One of the most significant tools is monetary policy. Now, this might sound like a term straight out of an economics textbook, but it's actually quite straightforward. Monetary policy involves the management of the money supply and interest rates. By increasing or decreasing interest rates, central banks can slow down or speed up economic activity, thereby controlling inflation. Imagine it like this. When the economy is overheating and inflation is on the rise, the central bank is like a traffic cop, slowing things down by raising interest rates. This makes borrowing more expensive, which in turn discourages spending and cools down the economy. On the other hand, when the economy is sluggish and needs a boost, the central bank can lower interest rates, encouraging spending and stimulating economic activity. Then there's fiscal policy, another essential tool. This involves the government adjusting its spending levels and tax rates. By doing so, it can influence the economy's overall demand for goods and services, and in turn, control inflation. Inflation, while complex, is an essential concept to understand as it impacts almost every aspect of our lives. And with the right tools and policies, we can keep it in check, ensuring a stable and healthy economy for all.